All right. All right. So we should be live now. I I'll wait here a few seconds, see if anybody else jumps on. And I know that people will come back and watch this later, so I don't want to sit here and wait too long. I got to start a timer. I don't want to go over 15 minutes on this because I am just taking a break here at work. So I'm actually standing at my um, shop desk here in my you want to call it my office, and so I just wanted to take a few minutes here and and just share. We were challenged this Sunday and our youth group to share some ways that God has provided for us. And we kind of went around the room and we shared things that that God has done for each of us. And so I the challenge was also put out there for us to share this list that we had made, really kind of on social media. Well, I don't have Facebook. I have Instagram, but I only have a small few followers on there. So and I've only got it just to kind of help jumpstart my YouTube channel. So, anyways, what my plan is here is um, this isn't what the channel has really been created for. I called it Only Dude in the House because I have a wife and four daughters. One of them is married now, the house, but I'm the only guy. There's no other guys there. So I created it because I just thought, hey, it'd be fun to throw some stuff out there. I see how people do make money off of it, but it does take a lot to get there. And someday maybe it'll be that way. But it's just to post things. Like I use it kind of more for posting home videos or funny things that go on, and and I've kind of incorporated it into what I do here at the school as well, calling myself cowboy custodian, which is basically what I am today, cowboy custodian, because I'm here at work. But anyways, I also understand that that I need to be a little more intentional on how I use this platform and sharing my faith in Jesus Christ as well. So I'm not ashamed to get on here and do this and take a moment to share, what Jesus has done for me. I've been saved since I was 5 or 6 years old, and grew up in the church. And every time the doors were open, we were there. And we've kind of raised my family to be the same way. And I'm proud to say that even my daughter, who's married and moved out of the house, she's faithful and doing the same thing. And so I just shout out to her for her continued walk with the Lord. But anyways, I only got about 12 minutes, so I want to get into this. What I shared with the group on Sunday was I shared about a quick story about how the Lord provided for us when we had a need with in regards to a job. I had to, I'm going to kind of do two of these stories, but let's just kind of share what I shared on Sunday just briefly. And what it was I was looking for going out on my own part-time, doing tree work, landscaping, something of that nature. And needless to say, it just things didn't fall into place as far as trying to do it on my own. And through a friend of mine, he gave me a name of a guy in Zanesville who owed a tree service, and it's called Arborworks Tree Service. And so I called him up and didn't hear anything from him. Then I talked to one of his employees a couple of days later, and he said, I'll leave the message for him. He says, I can't guarantee he'll call you. He's always really busy. I said, okay, I understand. And then I got some news about a possibility of doing some work for a construction company. And well, that fell through and that didn't happen. So I decided that, maybe this isn't what God has for me. And I was just, but I knew I had to do something because I was going part-time with the other company, and wasn't willing to really kind of turn back. I wanted to get away from that company because drugs were being used and there's just a lot of bad things that were going on there, and just making it dangerous. So I decided to just give it to the Lord. I fast for a couple of days on it, and just prayed and asked him to handle it. And one day I was on my way to work there in Columbus, and I just was praying and praying, didn't know what was going to happen. And I ended up getting a call from the man there. His name is Jeff, and he offered me a job, and I ended up going and working for him. And it was just really cool to see how God just opened the doors. He's a believer, he knows Jesus Christ. I mean, we probably spent more time talking about the Lord than we ever did about work. The whole time I was there, we prayed together. It was just an awesome experience. It was neat how God worked that out. And then I got other examples, but the one example I really wanted to kind of share with you guys today, because many of you might not know this. I was going to post this back in May, and I may do something this May on it. But it's been, I want to say 5-6 years ago, this coming May, when I was doing tree work. I was working on a tree for the city of Zanesville, and we were subcontracting for them. Their guys would clean everything up, and it made it really nice. All we had to do is cut it, drop it on the ground, and we're good to go. And I was working on a tree for them, and it was kind of a cloudy, dreary day, but there was no wind. It was just as calm as can be. And I was cutting on the top of this tree, and I put a notch in it. I began to do the back cut. I even stopped. I looked at it. I says, yeah, this is going to go. I can tell it's going to go. I pushed on it, everything. And I just started to cut some more. In the process of cutting, this tree stopped and literally started coming back on me. And when it came back, I mean, it was probably about this big around, not maybe a little bit bigger than that, but it altogether, it probably weighed somewhere around, 300-400 pounds, maybe a little less. But still, all that coming back on me is just frightening. And all I could think to do is to get down into the bucket and then, push off. Well, I had a chainsaw in this hand, and I'm using this hand to push. And in the process of coming down and this coming down on top of me, somehow the saw came down, and it left me with a pretty good scar. I don't know if you can see it there, but it was about that thick. It's a little difficult. I'm not going to put pictures on here, but it was about that thick, and it got down into the larger of the bone. And anyways, went to the hospital. Actually, this finished the story. I actually yelled down to the guys and told them, call 911. I cut my arm. I dropped the saw. It's still on the ground, just running. And fortunately, the bucket, hold still. The bucket I was in had levers. It didn't have a joystick, so I was able to just use my elbow. But I had grabbed my hand like this and held on to it, and I was using my elbow to get myself down. And fortunately, I was able to get down to the ground. And within 8 minutes, the fire department showed up. And then I would say about another 2 minutes, the EMS, the ambulance was there. And I thought it was bad. Now, fortunately, the Lord knew, and he spared me. But because it was on the top side, not the bottom side, I didn't hit any main arteries or blood vessels or anything like that. Just did a lot of nerve damage, several ligaments, and then just fractured a teeny bit of that larger bone. So anyways, I'm in the ambulance. I call my wife, I call Kim, and I tell her, hey, I got some bad news. And I'm talking to her the same way I'm talking to you in this video right now. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know I cut my arm with a chainsaw. And she's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yeah, no, I did. And I had it on speaker. And the lady, the EMT that was working on me, she goes, yeah, ma'am, he really did. It's pretty bad. We're getting ready to take him to the hospital. And she immediately kind of freaked out. And but she got the girls together, or whatever the case may be, and found someone to watch them real quick. And then she came down to the hospital and met me there. And anyways, they didn't want to do anything there at the hospital, the Genesis in Zanesville. They decided they wanted to ship me to Columbus, and they sent me to Ohio State. And those that do know me, and you've seen some of the videos, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I grew up in Michigan. I'm a Wolverine. I love the Wolverines. And so I made a joke about it and said, hey, why can't you just get a helicopter and bring it in and fly me to Ann Arbor? And there was about 15 people in that room, it seemed like, and they all turned their heads. And our preacher, Pastor Mark, he looked at him and said, hey, he's from Michigan. You have to forgive him. But so they took me there, and they ended up doing surgery the next day. Pastor Seth had only been in the church for a short time, and he came out and spent hours and a couple of days with me, and we really got to know each other a little bit better through that experience. And but the tough part of it, getting through surgery, that was rough. Honestly, it wasn't really that bad. I was knocked out, but doing that, getting out of the hospital, going home, and recovering, I knew that was going to be an uphill climb, and I knew I needed to work. At the time, Kim didn't work; she was a stay-at-home mom, and so I was the bread and butter of the house. I brought home the bacon. So it really put a dependency on the Lord as to how we were going to get through this. Well, I had workman's comp, and workman's comp took care of my medical, but I wasn't sure how. I don't know what she just said there, but I don't know what what we were going to do, and God ended up using His people to take care of it. First with Jeff and our works. Instead of going through workman's comp and messing with all that and waiting on them, he decided to give me a percentage of my my pay and take care of me per week, which really helped. And then there were some other people that the Lord really used to step up and take care of us in a financial way. And it was just really awesome because I felt like, if something was to happen in that moment, I thought if something had happened and I had lost my life, I felt good that there was people out there that would step up to help take care of my family. And that meant a lot. It really meant a lot. And so that was quite an experience. It took 2.5 months to get back to recovered where I could actually move my hand and do some stuff. And I was back out cutting trees within that 2.5 months. And then I decided to take a different job shortly after that. But that is one of the ways that God had provided for me and my family in the past. And I can always look back to that. And I have a scar. I have a scar here to remind me of what God did for us at that moment. So that is one of my stories that I have, and I have others. But I just wanted to get on here real quick on one of my breaks and just share with you guys, what God has done for me. And so I pray that you would take that and you would take that same philosophy and think about times in your life where God had, done things for you that you just, it was Him. There wasn't anybody else that was involved. It was just God had His hand in it and watching over you. And just think back on those times. When things are bad and things are rough, just think back on that, because it's so easy for us to see what's straight in front of us and not think about what's ahead or what's behind and get wrapped up in that. And so we need to just kind of be reminded of that. So that's my story. I'm about out of time. I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that it's an encouragement to some of you, maybe that'll watch this later, that you would be encouraged by the story and look at those times. Again, I don't want to forget about my relationship with the Lord, and so I'm always trying to be intentional about mentioning it while I'm on here. But again, most of my videos are just videos of the family and things that we do, so it's not always going to be that way. So anyways, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate those that have come back to watch this again later. And I just hope that story would be a blessing to you. And if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I pray today that you would think about that. Think about your eternity. If you were to die today, where would you spend the rest of your life? Where would you spend eternity? There's only two places, either heaven or hell. And we have a choice. God sent His Son Jesus so that He could be the way, the truth, the life, and that we could have salvation in Him. And so I just pray that you get into church and that you would find somewhere where you can strengthen your relationship with the Lord. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a blessed day. We'll catch you on the next one.